What's going on, everybody? Rob Doster here from the Field of 68. And today we're going to bring you another episode in our NBA Draft Prospect Profile series. These are going to be dropping throughout May and throughout June, a couple a day. So if you do like this content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and do hit that like button. Anything that you can do to interact with these videos, it really does help the channel. It helps more people like you find this content. And since I have you here, make sure you check out our Instagram and TikTok pages. We are going to be pumping out more unique content over there throughout the spring and the summer heading into the 2022-23 college basketball season. Like, for example, did you know that Penny Hardaway was shot when he was in college? I didn't know that. You can find that story right now live on our TikTok and Instagram pages. The links for those are in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into another Field of 68 NBA Draft Prospect Profile.
Welcome to the Field of 68 2022 NBA Draft Profiles. I'm Stadium's Jeff Goodman. I'm here with former Clemson sharpshooter Terrence Oglesby, and we are going to break down the game of Duke freshman Paolo Banchero. 6'10", 250. Averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists a game. Was an inconsistent three-point shooter, but shot 34% from three. A man-child. The guy that I've seen play for, I don't know, probably 3-4 years now. And my comparison early was Chris Webber because he is so big, so strong. He could take it off the glass and go with it. Good passer, not quite as good as Chris Webber. But again, just the build, the body build. And Chris Webber ended up probably being 240, 245. Not when he was at Michigan. He was probably closer to 225, 230. I like Paolo. I think, again, he's going to be an impact player in the NBA right away because you could put him in and physically he'll be able to not only hold his own, he'll actually cause some problems for some guys physically because he is so big, strong, and athletic.
He's a marvel. I said at the beginning of the season, I think his long-term potential is one of the best that Coach K's ever had. I actually said the best. I put the brakes on that one a little bit, but at the same time, he's not far off. 6'10", 250. The thing that's most impressive about him is everything that you just said. And I from a body perspective, I like the Chris Webber comparison. I don't love it because Chris Webber, that's a disservice to that man's passing ability because I felt like Chris Webber was a savant. Right. Like Chris Webber was on Sacramento Kings. Chris Webber was an absolute situation. Like let's call that what it was. He was unbelievable. But his ability to score, sure. You're not going to love this one, being a Boston guy. But when I look at Paolo Banchero, he operates at his best at 15 to 18 feet. His jump shot doesn't come off quick, but the form looks good. He has good small area quickness.
I want to know where you're going with this.
Not so much somebody that's going to blow past you, but his short area quickness is going to be able to get him where he wants to go. Bigger, stronger, Paul Pierce. He's not the dog that Paul Pierce is, but I want you to look at where they operate from at their best. They can both hit and shoot over the top of people because of their length, and they're both strong enough to hold whoever off. If Paolo Banchero develops this ability to slow his body down and control the defender, there's not going to be able to be anybody that can guard him because of his size at 6'10", 250, 255. You remember some of these shots that he hit in Madison Square Garden at the beginning of the year? I'm just like, man, these are professional shots right away. Those are shots that are directly transferable. I think he's going to be a better shooter than 34% from three by the time it's all said and done. And he's going to be a go-to scorer from day one. He's somebody that'll be able to get anywhere from 18 to 22 a game his rookie year if they feature him enough. This is a guy that is special. 6'10", 255. You don't find that all that often. If we could get him to drink enough Gatorade before the games, and not cramp up, he's going to be an absolute problem. I think because of where they function from, the areas of the floor where they're best at, and their small area quickness, I thought that Paul Pierce comparison was pretty good. And I knew that would throw you for a loop. But because
they're just
of
different
where
positions.
They operate.
Yeah, they're different positions and different, obviously I see Paolo as a guy who can post up a lot more. Like that's
I seem to remember during these Celtics Lakers, they would post up Paul Pierce a lot.
Yeah, they can. I thought Pierce is more of a face up guy to me, who again wasn't nearly as athletic as Paolo. But listen, to me, Paolo, I feel like the more I saw Paolo, the more I wanted to nitpick what he couldn't do. And that's kind of what happens, right? You see him so often. And I've seen him since, again, USA basketball in Colorado Springs. That was the first time I saw him and fell in love with him. Fell in love with him because, again, his body looked then like it does now. And he's so versatile for someone his size, so athletic. So he can impact the game in so many ways. As you said, he can score from mid-range. He can back you down. He's got turnarounds. And he shot the three well enough, and it's going to get better. It's going to get better.
Who does that sound like? All four things that you just described.
Yeah.
Who does that sound like?
I mean, listen, the dude is special, and he's got a chance to be the best player to come out of this draft. There's no doubt about it. And in fact, he'll be probably the best player early on, I would think, to come out of this draft because, Chet, it's going to take time. We know that. Jabari, it might take time just because he still physically needs to fill out a little bit more. Paolo, you're going to look at and you're going to be like, all right, he's bigger and stronger than Jason Tatum is today.
Yep.
And it's taken Jason Tatum 5 years to get there. Paolo is already 250 pounds and he can jump over you or jump through you. The biggest question I think for Paolo is going to be his perimeter shot because
but it's not broken.
It's not. No, it is not broken at all. It's all about how good Paolo Banchero wants to be. And if he gets in the gym, and to me, it's the defensive end of the floor too for him, right? Like, can he guard threes? Can he switch on everything and move his feet well enough that he can guard, twos and threes? I don't know. I know he can guard fours and fives in the league. I know he can do that. I know he can guard.
He can stay in front of 2 through 5 in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think that's a reasonable request for Paolo Banchero.
I love him. Listen, again, I love him. I think there's absolutely a school of thought that Paolo Banchero will be the best player to come out of this draft. With Chet, there's obviously more questions and concerns. We know that with his body. There's no concerns with Paolo Banchero's body. In fact, that's one of his biggest assets.
Yeah, to me, he's the top pick in the draft. I know a lot of people are enamored with Jabari Smith. He hits a lot of shots, but I think he took more shots than he took dribbles during his time at Auburn. And that's not a knock. But at the same time, if you're picking number one and you're trying to pick a bona fide all-star, Paolo Banchero is the guy that out of those three, he can differentiate himself because of that body size, because of his ability to manufacture offense. Does Jabari Smith manufacture his own offense? TBD. Right. To be determined. Didn't have to do it at Auburn because he had those guards running around crazy. Chet Holmgren is going to be a great shot blocker in the NBA, especially on the weak side. Is he going to be able to somebody that you can run offense through and manufacture something right away when you need something? That's the big thing in the NBA with the top pick. If you're not going bona fide 5-man and you're going for basically a 2, 3, 4, whoever he's on, he's going to score on. That's what you need in the NBA. There's so few of them that can create their own shots. There's so few. I mean, look at the difference. Jimmy Butler, he could create his own shot last night. Jason Tatum can create his own shot. Warriors they kind of work within each other, but that's a very specific case.
Paolo can impose his will. I guess that's the difference with me for Paolo and Jabari Smith. Paolo can impose his will on you too, physically. He can impact the game that way. Obviously,
he's not going to get smaller.
No. He's not. I just think it's still a shooter's league overall right now. And if Paolo can't be a guy, like if this 34% from three in college was actually an aberration and he's not even that, then I think you're talking about Paolo not being what you think he's going to be. That to me is the key. He's got everything else. The only thing I'm not sold on yet is that Paolo Banchero can be a consistent three-point shooter that they even worry about out there. Mm-hmm. But with work, that's the area that NBA guys will tell you, like, they're not going to be worried about that with Paolo. It looks good. It's not like his shot doesn't look good. It does. It's just more of, again, is he going to put enough time in the gym? And I think a big part of it for Paolo is going to be, where does he get drafted? Who is he around at the next level? What culture, what locker room is he around? Does he have good leaders around? Otherwise, he could be an empty numbers guy.
I hope he doesn't go to Houston.
And that's kind of what concerns me. You go to Houston, you're losing a ton of games. Yeah, you're going to put up 20 and 10, but you're playing for nothing. And then you get into some bad habits.
Right. And here's my differentiation. I think me and you are both on the same page as Chet maybe being number 3. Am I correct in my assumption?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's where I'm at as well. But I think the key differentiator is what All-Star is going to be able to get you a shot. And that is a skill that is so – there's a lot of guys who can knock down shots off a catch in the NBA. A lot of guys with size who can knock down shots off a catch in the NBA, who can get you a bucket. I mean, Paolo can do that.
I'll just say this. I'll say this about Jabari. Watching Jason Tatum in the last couple of years, he had a tough time getting his own shot at times, okay? And it takes time. Like Jabari, we're not going to be – Paolo is going to be ahead of Jabari early. There's no question in my mind. We're going to look at Rookie of the Year, and people are going to be like, oh, if Jabari goes number 1, it's going to be – how the hell could anybody have taken Jabari over Paolo? To me, I think you're going to have to wait 5 years to figure out what Jabari Smith is. I
remember Jason Tatum being a guy that would catch the ball 17 feet out, triple threat, figure something out, and just put on clinics twice a year or 3 times a year. Like you could see it. Jabari Smith would knock down some shots, and they'd be tough ones, but they'd kind of be in a rhythm. He'd be stepping into them and something like that, to where Jason Tatum, like you would see flashes of like, hey, 100%. creativity, jab step. I'm going to do something with it. There was more elements to how he was scoring. I love Jabari Smith. I love him.
No, I would agree with that. I mean, listen, I was about as high on Jason Tatum as anybody coming out, but I think Jabari has the potential to be that, but we did not see that. We didn't see much of, you're right, him putting it on the floor and exploding and dunking on dudes. That was not his game. His game was kind of that smooth, get him the ball, one dribble, or even honestly catch and shoot. That was more of what he did. Now it looks pretty because it went in a lot. It went in a lot. And I think a lot of people feel like, okay, Jabari, their games are just so different. All 3 of them. I mean, that's the beauty of this number 1 pick, right? Jabari, Paolo, and Chet. And then if you even throw Jaden Ivey in there, you want to throw him in there. Good. These are 4 completely different players, but Paolo Banchero is the most ready-made to impact in the NBA. And I also think his long-term future can be sensational. He could be a guy that is a cornerstone franchise player, a perennial all-star, one of the best players in the NBA down the road. It would not surprise me one bit.
Yep. We're on the same page. I think he's somebody that after year 2, his team, whatever team drafts him, is going to be in the playoffs. And then people are going to be like, uh-oh, Paolo's next. Kind of like we're looking at a lot of these guys right now. Like, Devin Booker might be next. Luka is right here, right now. Like maybe not Luka, but as far as his impact on his team, he could be that guy for whatever city or franchise goes forward. I don't want to be confused. That's not what I'm not comparing their games. I'm comparing their impact. And he could be somebody like that for the Orlando Magic, who, guys, I'm gonna be honest, if I'm recommending it, it's Paolo Banchero, just because of body size, the guys you already have. Like if Orlando's even entertaining Jaden Ivey, why'd you draft Jalen Suggs last year? Like, right. You know what I mean? Like you have pieces that could go around him. They need that centerpiece that can score, and Paolo Banchero can be that guy for you.
All right, there you have it. Terrence Oglesby telling Jeff Weltman from the Orlando Magic, draft Paolo Banchero. I'm Jeff Goodman of Stadium.
Call me Mr. Weltman.
I'm Jeff Goodman of Stadium. He is Terrence Oglesby. There you have it on Paolo Banchero. Make sure you follow us. You subscribe, Field of 68 on YouTube, on Twitter. We did draft profiles of every single player that's going to be taken in this year's 2022 draft. Thanks for joining us.